I have said it before and I will say it again. Ardyn is absolutely insane. It makes kind of these casual turns go absolutely bonkers. Hello everyone and welcome back. Today we're going to be playing some Rakdos Reanimator as we did again. This deck is entirely rotation safe. It was Legend VD that came up with the idea, or at least the idea that I saw to play it, and it all revolves around playing Zombify, the Faithful, and the Rakdos joins up as our reanimate spells and bringing back big things. Ardyn being kind of the key piece to it all because it can bring a lot of things back with haste and do kind of cool combat tricks with fear of missing out. But with that said, we're going to go ahead and dive right into the games. I hope you all enjoy them, and let's go play. It's a beanstalk. You know the beanstalk's not legal, bro. Come on. Already in a trolley mood. Sure, I guess. I'm not going to really decline our fourth land, especially whenever we have the opportunity to just mill like crazy. Valley Flood Color. Spent our rares and stuff on our crafting stuff on this. These always look cool to me, to be honest. Like, I really like the way these look. And they're green white. A little part of me tells me I should torch it right away. But, I mean, they have protection here. They have protection. I'm not really playing around that all too much, I think. I was really hoping I could rip like a Pyroclasm here, but unfortunately we cannot. I think I gotta go for Light Shatter here, and I think I have to discard here and here. We already have the card in our graveyard we really want to bring back, so I'm not necessarily that stoked about waiting, right? And especially if I bring this back, I can bring this back with haste and stuff, which is nice. And then it gets like an ETB and an attack, and then we are obviously guaranteed to kind of do well. But obviously we need to find one of 8. We need to find one of 8 pieces. We haven't milled one over. We're 12 cards deep. We'll be 13 after this turn. I think they're trying to decide whether this is worth Shelter by ghosting. But if we can find any removal, we'll obviously have kind of the mana for it. Hopefully. We'll see though. This is a bit weird. It's like Torch won't do it, but Bitter Triumph definitely can regardless. We'll see. Yeah, that's what they're going for. I think it was literally this, or like take the entire turn off to, like, take the entire turn off to do that, or take the turn off to do something else. Let's play Fear here, get rid of the basic. We already have ways to turn these on. If we do that, I could go for the Overlord, but I think I want to wait. And I'm going to hold that Pyroclasm and hope it's good. Valley Might Caller just might get through anyway. Yeah. Valley Might Caller's just going to be too large to handle here, I think. To an extent, obviously. Just that attacks. 3 life worth it here. I'm not sure. I think no. I think I just hold. See if they commit more here. A Knight Errant of Eos. Brutal. Yeah, it's a bit tough. Yeah, this can't really do much. I have to do this. Grab something back, probably. I can't grab this. Guess it's a Fear here. Pyroclasm. Just wipe the board for the most part. The problem is I just have to wait and 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I'm just dead here, right? 7. I'm close to dead. I guess I'm not just dead unless they remove my Fear. Yeah. I mean, there's a chance it's just not great at all, obviously. I can obviously just block here. 3-1. Do we rip one? We're 20 cards deep. We do. Is it enough, though? I have no idea. I don't think so. Actually, I guess it does give the creature lifelink. Weird. Weird world to be in. Let's bring this out. Let's play a Fear. We do get a Fear from our graveyard, so we can actually get a couple of attacks here, which is awesome. This is actually huge. We attack for 5. We can just untap the Fear. We're going to actually probably crawl out of this game, which is actually insane. Doesn't really matter if this dies. We get another combat regardless. Our opponent recognizes that. That goes away. We bring back an additional fear of missing out. Now it enters. We loot away that card. It's a land, so it doesn't matter. We attack here. We untap the fear again. We go to an additional combat here. We grab the Overlord. Now it comes in. Overlord trigger. We bully this thing out of the way. And obviously that's going to get larger, and it's going to have lifelink. And honestly, I feel like the 10 here is probably worth. And I'm just going to go ahead and shoot this thing out of the way. That's going to go to 11, which is obviously a lot, but their cards in hand, I don't know, can beat us now. They do have to obviously answer this. What a top deck to entirely change the game around. What a crazy turn. We were at 1 life just a turn ago. We are now at 29, facing a 12-11 lifelinker. However, our opponent can definitely win this if they can answer this card, of course. They tap down, looking for some 1-drops here. Miss entirely. 0 chance for blocking that. Our creatures that come back have menace, and I feel like this is just the nail in the coffin. We'll just discard this. We will go and we will look at ours. We'll bring back this Overlord. This will come back and trigger. 2 fear missing outs it should close. I believe we have enough damage to close here, which is crazy. Can I look at the board? Jesus. So this is going to deal 5 plus 4. So it's going to deal 9 twice for 18, because obviously it's going to be one of the creatures we untap. And then one of these could be the creature we untap. It doesn't really matter at that point. And then it'll be 10. So we have 18 plus another 10. We do 28. That is 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 30. We actually kill them from here. That's crazy. 35 life and they're actually dead. Wow. What a game. Oh boy. Opponent first. We can get double red here for the Overlord and better try and put it this away. So maybe we'll be fine. Also, deck thinning here is pretty advantageous for us. Now we don't have to play 2 tap lanes in a row. We'll just grab Mountain. I guess we never had to, right? We could just play Mountain into Swamp, into Fable, grab second Mountain. But blue-white, it seems, which is going to obviously be tough. Carnosaur, a decent draw. Pass. There's a pause here, probably like a Deduce or something. Control obviously going to, I think, be the hardest thing for us to ever deal with. I guess, honestly, just slam the Light Shatter. Just force them to answer it. Maybe counter it. Could wait till like a future turn. We'll just discard 1 card here. I think having the land drops is actually really important. Flash something in. But obviously we're going to attack. If they smite it, they smite it. Get lost? Sure. Sure. Have a hand kind of catering more towards the removal. There's a Zombify. Obviously we could go for it, but I think they kind of played it a bit for us not to be able to. I think they have a counter spell. At least I'm putting them on a counter spell. I just don't know what else it would be. Maybe not. I think letting this resolve kind of tells us that it might not be a counter spell. So we can probably barrel the Zombify next turn. But the problem is the creature we bring back just doesn't really do much. Battle menu was the card of holding? Sure. The torch, so I don't even want to surveil here because I know I got a card I want. I mean, why not? Let's barrel it. If they have a counter spell, I'm going to force them to use it. If they have removal, I'm going to force them to use it, right? So you don't sacrifice that to draw a card, which is an interesting thing. In turn. Pending coming down. Obviously, we could have activated a map here. Make a treasure token. I feel like I'm not against what I think I'm against, and that's scary. Seeing this, I just don't know. I see these. Ultima. Okay. Fair enough. Maybe I am against what I think I am. We can just grab a red source here, I guess. Maps are gone, I suppose. a pretty good card. That in the graveyard. 6 now. We have one more turn before this becomes active, which is pretty nice. Demo field, a possibility. We have 5 basics in play, so I can't imagine they feel like... So, what we could do here is we can actually do this. So let's go Bitter Triumph, discard a card, fire this off, get rid of the torch, which puts them not drawing a card here. So this just gains some life, I think. Yeah. Which, if we have to answer the bees anyway, why not do it that way, right? So, it could have another Ultima, but I feel like jamming this just makes a ton of sense. Yeah, sure. Why not? A little pressure here. Get rid of... We're, what, 6? So we're 2 mana away. Okay, get rid of it. Finding a land's pretty huge here. Attack. Maybe this will... Also, getting rid of an extra card when this is available. It's like... Kind of need to, right? Because of the fact that we could have exiled it by a mistake, which is one downside. Now, their ultimate is obviously going to be a huge spell for them this turn, I think. Demo fielding me? Are you basics checking me right now? Just black, I guess. The action. We have plenty of basics, so demo fielding me is not going to happen. Sure. Could have, like, hit our own creature, but we'll see. The only downside of not having haste on your creatures, right? It's just like... Ultima just gets you bad. But this kind of feels pretty good. Card has trample. Light Shatter can attack. We're what, a land away? We have, because we have 4, 5, 6, 7. There's a Bitter Triumph. Do I want to see what I can do here? I guess so, right? Go to combat. The map they can sack and things like that. Yes. I guess we're all... No, I want all attack. We're all in here. And this is 4 to any target. Maybe I'm supposed to send this face and not worry about the 1/1, but I just wanted to make the blocks weirder, I guess. What do we get off this? A land? Okay, that's pretty huge. Sure. We'll just take 3 life here. Get rid of this. Basically, them sacrificing that doesn't really do much, but they can sacrifice the 1/1. Maybe find something there. Fear, I feel like we should play regardless here. This is also one of the reasons maybe we should just send that upstairs. We play Fear because it draws us a card regardless. And I guess maybe I should have cracked this land. Maybe that's a mistake. Go ahead and deck then while we can. Playing a little too quick, I suppose. I understand we're overcommitting to the board, but I can't let a single Biza coming back down maybe stop us, or like 1 token made here. And clearly they didn't have a board wipe the turn before, so we're just kind of in that ballpark, right? There's a Jace, which definitely implies nothing that serious. You're going for a card draw here. No Reanimate spell brought out. We've hit 1 Zombify. Any Reanimate spell gets it done. We do get a second combat if our Fear lives, which is definitely tough for them. Yeah, and I don't know. Without a board wipe, I don't know what they would have that really gets us. One of the weird ones, I think, more than anything. We have the Reanimate spell. We have, like, a draw plus a lot of looks. I feel like keeping's fine. I mean, I could get punished anyway. It looks like maybe a life gain deck. We ripped a Swamp, which is pretty sweet. But a draw, so 3, and then I would assume we'd hit a land at some point there, so then we can go up. It's just like kind of some life gain rabbit nonsense, which is not nonsense, I guess, but you know what I mean. Let's play a Fear here. Might as well get the Valgavoth in the yard while we can. Bitter Triumph number 2. The only card that's really scary here is obviously a Shelter. Or the rabbit that kind of... there it is. I mean, at least I do get to kind of stall a bit because I can block. So it's a bit interesting. And then I can definitely better triumph a couple of things here. But we'll see. Just don't block for now. These can't really attack, which is obviously good for us. So, what's the play here? To light shatter and then make their attacks really hard? I guess so, right? And then just reanimate the Valgavoth, and then they gotta answer that. Here. Maybe just this. Maybe it's just that. I understand that that could be a removal spell. Obviously, no attack here. We're just gonna hold and hope no shelter comes. I mean, I think that's just where we have to be, right? Just let a Valgavoth win the game for us if it can. One on top, which might imply that they found one. Maybe there's a Knight Errant here. Hop to it. Okay, that's pretty tough. A lot of life gained. Let's see, will they attack? They leave on top on all of those. I think trading's fine there. There's a torch. Better triumph. I mean, I think it's just bring out this. And then pause here. And then they might shelter, but I definitely have the removal to answer a shelter. I just have to live that turn, right? And then they have to sack everything to do this. Or maybe not everything, but they have to sacrifice 3 non-land permanents. Right? So, sure, they lose a lot of these tokens, but I still have a good blocker. And then maybe I'm fine. And they tap out. That's huge for us. That's so huge. Unbelievably. Oh, what draws there? That's crazy. Sure, they're gonna get a token somewhere, but I'm not gonna wait here. I'm just gonna go ahead and discard a card, barrel here, get rid of a Bitter Triumph, holding up this torch. I mean, I guess holding up his torch does nothing. Resolve, autopay. The resolve part always makes it a little bit sketchy, of course. Then we just hold. I mean, we got a 9/9 lifelinker. They have to rip the shelter, but that also, again, answers a lot of their board. So it's just like this weird game they have. There's a Paw Patch. Sure. No vigilance here, which does make it a bit harder to kind of want to commit anything. I hold this swamp, or this mountain to pitch, I guess. Should I attack here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A lot, but I can probably just remove that. Yeah, I mean, I feel like the 9 has to go. You know what I mean? I mean, that puts them down to 23, puts us up to 25. I'm holding this to pitch to the Bitter Triumph, which could, some people may think is a mistake, but I'm not sold. That's a card I was afraid of a bit. And it's not Offspring, so we're going to answer here. I don't want them to remove a ton of counters around, sure. That comes in. Maybe I do have to take 3 life. No, I'm thinking about it a bit more. Because 6 drops do matter. This guy, if I rip one off the top, I'm gonna want this land. Sure. No blocks. This has a good attack, which means I might even hit this. All my cards in my graveyard are good. And I got this now, which is kind of sweet. I mean, I guess, is it just... Maybe I just attack with this Light Shatter and see what's up. Bitter Triumph, which is a pretty good hit. We're going to keep this Light Shatter, so we're just going to go ahead and pop this, discarding this. Is losing this life worth just jamming these? They were at defense. We can offspring this too, which is pretty huge. Honestly, we might as well at this point, right? Sure, they have a trampler, but I still have 9 life. And if they shelter away my Valgavoth, it doesn't matter, right? All patch, sure. Now they have to figure it out, right? They have a lot to figure out. They think they have time with the Sanctificers, which maybe they do, maybe they don't. Yeah, dude, get it in there. That's what I'm talking about. Whenever this attacks, put 1 counter on each creature you control that's a token or a rabbit. Then if creatures you control have total power, yeah, I mean, let's play here. Then, yeah. And then we're going to play a Surveillant. We're going to look at this top card. And if it's good, then obviously we can just kind of do the Phineas play, right? So if there's a Zombify on top or a Reanimate piece, we do it because then we can bring back this Overlord, and then obviously we just start causing like a crazy amount of problems. But this doesn't necessarily have to live through this turn. Again, anything that dies on their board, we just get back, right? So even targeting some like Sanctificers and stuff as we're getting creatures to enter will get us a lot of life. So yeah, we get there. Very awesome. All right, opponent goes first. We do have a couple of options, right? Because we can start off with this if our opponent seems to be a bit of a slower deck. The Maul kind of implies that they're not, but if we have to, we are able to torch into Bitter Triumph because our mana does allow that. An island, maybe they are. So we'll just play our tap land. We'll see. Maybe blue-black. Hopefully it could be that as well. Okay, sweet. I feel like there might be a creature they want to flash in here, so I'm just going to pass. There's a pause here, so maybe it's a cycle, draw. It's blue-black control, just like blue-white control. I think it's a hard matchup in general. We're gonna torch this. I could obviously Bitter Triumph, but they definitely have creatures that can live a torch, so we don't really want to do that when it comes to like discarding. Exactly. So yeah, we play Mountain here. We do Bitter Triumph nonsense. We discard a card, get rid of this guy here because he's the best one to bring back of my lot. Because again, obviously he reanimates other stuff as well, and then doing like an Overlord's great. If I play a Fear, it might just die, which gives us 2 reanimates, which is awesome. And a tap out there and an Overlord coming in, bullying that thing off the board is pretty awesome. Big bonk for the Preacher. Not quite there. I do think this card has a good chance to kind of get back on top like it was in the past. Kaido here would be probably best draw for them. Or play, I guess. They're obviously going to 0 here, I think. Looks like I gotta, and we haven't lost life, so obviously that's not going to really do them any good. And I'm just going to play a second Overlord and shoot the Kaido. As long as we can kind of keep them from doing stuff, we're in a good spot, so. I'm not losing any life. Oh, there's a Valgavoth guy. But I think I could take 1 turn. Because again, if I top deck a land here, I can play this and activate it. And then we just don't have to worry. Plus, these starting to tick down gets really, really scary, right? So they take a turn, then this goes to 1. Then even if they kind of get on unhindered turn, now they have to answer this, which they probably have go for the throats and stuff in hand. So it is kind of tough, right? So let's play a Faithful. We can maybe figure something out here. I kind of want to play this Fear, but let's go to combat here. I kind of want to see if they answer this or not. They don't. Okay. Let's play a second one. The odds of this, like, kind of making it through this turn is actually way larger. And honestly, I might as well play a Fear as well. If they untap and randomly deadly cover up me, then so be it. So there's that. We can obviously kind of interact with that a bit. We do find a Bitter Triumph, which is great. These are about ready to come up after 2 turns. And again, if a Fear dies and we're able to bring this back, if we can find Delirium, then everything's obviously great, but we'll see. Might even be like, do the Overlord plan. I'm just not sure. I'm not going to let them draw here, I don't think. I think I have to block. Also means I have 2 Faithfuls to go into my turn with. Go to double blocks, but then they could just answer the other one, right? And then obviously I'm in a lot of trouble there. If they activate this, I feel really confident in our ability to just bring back the other guy. So they need exactly land plus 2 mana removal spell. Maybe they have it? Oh, no, they have 2 mana up, right? Okay. They have 2 removal spells. I'd also wait because obviously our Overlord comes up. And what a weird spot to be in, huh? I feel like everything can go wrong if I try to reanimate something here. But I think my plan, honestly, I think my plan is to let this Overlord come up, Bitter Triumph the Flyer, block here, and then reanimate whenever they might not have a thing. But obviously that means my Faithfuls have to live, which is a hard decision to have regardless. I could also just ignore everything and just reanimate something, but I just feel like with the Bitter Triumph draw, it's just a bad plan. Yeah, there's a pause. It feels like how stalled out the hand game was, that they just have nothing. It could be a creature with flash, obviously. For it. Maybe there's just flash creature. Gildred's Edict. Each opponent sacrifices a non-token creature of their choice. Obviously, I'll get rid of one of those. My Overlord's way too good to do that with. And now I even have a good block. We're looking for a draw here. We're going to hit this. No choice to be had. Obviously not going to let them draw. No way. No way we let them draw there. Now, the other thing with the Overlord in play is now we actually have a creature that's threatening, right? Like, I can move to combat and then force them to do something. They also could just have double removal here, and then this obviously comes up pretty handy. Just having a Zombify off the top would be the best draw, so I don't have to get rid of my Faithful for in case another Shieldred's Edict. We'll fetch. Go to grab a swamp here. We have plenty of mountains right now, so we're kind of chilling. Another land draw. Here would be just good, right? So, I mean, yeah, let's just do it. Now, they can obviously edict me now, but I'm back. Go for the throat, so there's that for him, obviously. Combat still. We attack. Obviously, we shoot this out of the way. It seems like we're going to be okay regardless because of what we kind of have in hand, but let's just play this land. Could have the chance to do this later and maybe cycle some stuff away. Obviously, right now, like, our board is just insane. Just this. I mean, I guess I could have just sent it upstairs, but I get more damage by doing this. I should have attacked with the land, but I just... Sure. That's on me, I guess. I don't know what this other card in their hand is. They've had a other card, so I just assume... Maybe it's a cut down. So I would have lost my land creature anyway, so... Maybe it didn't matter. Going first here, we have Surveil lands, we have Bitter Triumph for this, and a Light Shatter. We should hopefully be able to find a Reanimate piece, especially going first. We can establish our black mana early, have the Bitter Triumph ready, go into this Light Shatter, kind of call it a day. Have a good time. Unsure, though. Unsure. A mulligan. Okay, well, no duress coming from me, so you don't have to worry about that. Fortunately. Nothing like seeing your opponent mulligan and then you just get to duress them and then take the best card, you know? But we play here. Faithful will leave. Probably just jam it next turn, depending. Green rabbits, maybe? Landware elves? Maybe it's the... Oh, I think we know what deck this is, team. Am I supposed to Bitter Triumph this? Maybe not. Maybe they tap... They're problem is I don't really have an answer for the opposite. So I'm going to play a Surveil land here. Another land. I'm going to pass on the land for now, and I'm just going to play our creature here. I think we're going to see a Tifa or maybe a Mosswood, which allows us to Bitter Triumph and then get rid of it. And then the Light Shatter can come in and do the summon. It's a bit weird. It's a bit weird. 9 power and toughness is a lot, though, especially when it comes in and pop something, right? So I have the Reanimate piece in play. I mean, realistically, our turn's going to be Bitter Triumphing something, hopefully. And then having this as a threat here in play, which is obviously good. Maybe Chocobo. Okay. Land, play something important. Here. A pass here? Be a fight spell? We're in combat though. Oh yeah, no way I'm doing that. That's not a trade I'm offering. And there's a Zombify. Okay, well. Even if it gets countered, we are fine. It actually might work out better if it does. Or if we end up losing our Faithful, right? With a kind of a combat trick we obviously hold. This doesn't have trample, and it's obviously way more threatening than anything else going on. Pause there. They have to have a protection spell. I just refuse to believe otherwise. There's a Bristly Bill. Okay. Can't really do much. There's an escape tunnel. Huh. Uh-huh. Let's just force it now. I 100% believe they have the protection spell. I just don't believe any other thing. Yeah, sweet. So they'll go mana down here, though. That's the only problem for them. If they wanted to activate this escape tunnel, they could wait. But the thing is I think I'm supposed to take 4 here. I know that's weird. Maybe 5, 6. They don't activate. Again, this enter is tapped. So I do not care. Now, am I supposed to just zombify it, though? And leave this as a blocker, considering they have no trample? And I think that's the answer. We bring back this. We're going to pop the baby Chocobo, because obviously it's a big creature. And then we get another tick on our upkeep for free. Does this bring... Yeah. That's just a lore counter. None of these bring back with a finality counter. Only Ardyn does, I believe. Again, like we said, the center is tapped. Doesn't really do much for us. That just gets popped. And now, obviously, I can block with this, hopefully. They could play a land. Chocobo kick this, I guess. But then we can just reanimate it again. Obviously, they run into a lot of problems there. Just getting to our turn is so crucial because this ticks up, right? Because it just destroys a creature on tick up here. Potentially. Here. Yeah, as you can see, it's just not going super well for them. Yeah, I just don't know once we're in this position with 1 card in hand that they ever have a chance. And I think that puts us in Diamond 3, which is pretty cool. Well, the only thing I can really say is I feel like we are 100% rotation ready with this. Sorry about the audio of the game. I'm actually going to look and see if we have any cards from Edge that I'm really maybe excited about playing in red and black that we can maybe reanimate in this deck. I haven't looked all too much. I do think this deck just has kind of a solid game plan in general. There's not really a whole lot of big beaters in here. The only real maybe thing we get into is playing green, because there's some cool green cards. Other than that, I don't know if this deck really cares about the new set all too much. I mean, I guess the 1 creature might be good, but it takes away all the abilities, so I feel like that's not that great. Well, yeah, with that said, I mean, if you're a Reanimate player and you like the Rakdos and maybe the new set's not all that exciting, then obviously this is probably a deck list that you can look into. We went a good 5-0 very quickly. I mean, I say very quickly as each game lasted like 7 minutes, but I felt like it was more just kind of taking our time with the game, making the correct decisions. Oftentimes I'm pretty fast when I play, I think. Overall, like sometimes I'll obviously play slow, but I think overall I make my decisions fast and it gets me in trouble because I'm trying to do it more for like the content thing. But at the end of the day, the deck felt great. I think this card right here is severely underrated overall because the way it works, and I think the one game where we brought back 2 fear of missing outs kind of explains that. But I just don't know how in a situation like that, especially an aggro deck, can never come back because I mean it's a 5/5 menace lifelinking creature with haste, and then it untaps itself, so you either take 5 or you block like they did and get it off the board. And then another fear of missing out came back, and then obviously we got all the value, and then obviously the overlord's coming back, and they just, after all that said and done, they just gave it up. Obviously there's just not a whole lot they can do just because this card going unanswered is absolutely bonkers. With that said and done, it's fun. I like this deck a lot. The crafting guide to it isn't even really that bad, I think. Like, obviously, these are a bit tough, I think. I feel like it's weird because on some extent, I feel like this craft guide sucks, right? Like, I feel like this is hard to craft and, like, convince you to craft. And Light Shatter might be and Fear might be. But, honestly, it's a very good chance that you just have a Valgavoth if you've opened packs. You might have one of these if you've opened packs. Overlord, you might have 2. Like 2 of these is typically kind of in that range of potentially opened with free packs. Obviously, it's not guaranteed by any means, but obviously getting 4 of these is you're going to probably have to craft at least 1, 2, or 3 of them. Maybe you got lucky and opened one, especially with these ones. But if you've been playing Rakdos and any type of fear of missing out deck, you most likely have Light Shatters along with that, especially if you maybe played Oculus or something. With all that said and done, it felt great. This deck felt awesome. I've played it twice now, and it went pretty well the first time, and then here again, it went very well as well. I almost honestly think these Carnosaurs, as good as they can be, I almost feel like they need to be this Overlord, and then maybe something like another Pyroclasm or something like that. And Rakdos joins up as good as it is. We didn't see it today, but having the option to see it's good. We do have 24 lands, so this card... You can maybe, if you don't want to craft the rare, you could craft these, but I'm not going to say that that's better. This is kind of the best 5-mana reanimate spell in slot, but obviously you can play a cheaper version if you don't necessarily care about the I think what it's called living something here. No. Actually don't know how to return creature battlefield. Like a 5-mana one that you can play. That's pretty fine. This one hurts you. It also rotates. Calling Rebirth. Gift a card. Return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. If gift promise and that creature isn't legendary, create a token that's a copy of that creature, except it's a 1/1, which is interesting. But this is legendary. This isn't. This isn't. This isn't. Is and is. So it's kind of a bit weird. Like, obviously we're not really wanting to do this, but you could just play this instead if you really want to. And honestly, with like maybe playing the Carnosaurs, this might actually be more worth it than maybe not playing the Rakdos joins up. Of course, the idea of this is if you're against blue-white control, this card's going to be significantly better if you have it in play, because a board wipe, they all get shot for it. But if there's an Ultima in play, then it doesn't matter actually, because then you don't get anything because your turn ends. This is the other card. Maybe you can play this. I think this is probably the best one outside of that. Return target creature card from the graveyard to the battlefield at instant speed. And then we can destroy target creature. Maybe we should just be playing this anyway. Over Rakdos joins up, especially if our opponent's trying to play some control stuff. Or like in a couple of those turns where our opponent in blue-black was trying to just play on our instep, right? Well, what do they do if we do this in response to them flashing in a 2-drop and then we bring back, you know, Bahamut, right? Or we bring back the Overlord, or we bring back a Carnosaur and then get to bring back something else because Carnosaur casts this card. So honestly, might be okay. And also it does have a destroy creature clause on it, which isn't obviously our favorite thing in the world, but maybe it's just good enough, right? So who knows? It's obviously a fun deck. I think more than anything, I think this deck's pretty awesome. I'm actually going to put that card in the sideboard here, so it's maybe a recommendation if you don't want to craft these. But at the end of the day, I hope you all enjoyed, even though it's not necessarily a new deck or a rotation, like not a deck from Edge of Eternities. But I have a lot of fun playing, and I hope you all enjoyed it as well. So see you then, and whenever we're allowed to edge for eternity, apparently. So, well, I'll catch you next one. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.